Sober Boy Podcast. I am future Hall of Fame sports writer Seth Jones here with former All-American Chris Ochoa. Chris, say hello.
Well, hello there.
Hello there, y'all. All right, we'll be right back with Cowboys review, Cowboys preview, a little Ranger talk. Do a little Ranger talk. We'll be right back.
It kills me not to know this, but I've all but just forgotten what the color of her eyes were, and her scars or how she got.
Well, Chris, the Cowboys are 1-0, and what's better news than simply being 1-0 is that we are 1-0 in the division.
Exactly.
We failed the mighty Giants. And did this game go the way you thought this game was going to go?
I don't like to be that guy that says, I told you so.
Right.
Because I did. Because I predicted a 31-3 loss. But I did say that I thought the defense was going to play extremely well, and they did.
Man, 6 takeaways.
6 takeaways.
Holy moly. That's a lot.
Now, listen. I know that a lot of these stat nerds are going to say, but the defense gave up 450 yards passing. Well, guess what? I don't care, because the Giants were so far behind for the longest, they had to play that way. They had to air it out. That was their only hope. They couldn't run the ball.
Well, hell, what happens when they run it?
David Wilson fumbles.
Yeah.
And, Darrell Scott had a few nice carries. I mean, he had a 16-yarder.
Right.
But still, it was very obvious by the way we controlled the line of scrimmage, they were not going to be able to run the ball very effectively.
Now, clearly, Eli Manning having 4 rushing yards per carry shows that he has developed speed over the offseason. So should they have considered running the option?
Well, I think it should have been one of those, I think it should have been a scenario where every third play, they dropped back 7, he pump faked, and then took off running.
Take off running.
Yeah.
Right. You have to utilize that Eli Manning speed at some point if you want to get dynamic on offense.
Has there ever been a point where Eli Manning took off scrambling and you thought to yourself, he might break one?
Yeah, he might break his patella.
Right.
He's not going to break it.
But, I mean, obviously our defense does have some glaring weaknesses.
Right.
We haven't quite yet figured out how to jump a route as far as slant route goes, because we got beat pretty handedly.
Man, our secondary, I think our secondary struggled, but, and this is weird, I think our defensive line played very well. I was quite happy with them, but am I right? Let me see. Like, no sacks, right? Didn't we get 0 sacks? I think I heard that.
Yeah, I think we might have.
No sacks, but dude, we were all over him. Every play, Eli was ducking and dodging and running away and barely getting it off.
Here's my way of thinking. I don't really care if my defense gets a whole lot of sacks, because what is a sack? It's basically
a complete pass.
It's basically a loss of yardage for the other team. Now, Jason Hatcher had a sack, and Sylvie had a sack, and Bruce Carter had a sack. So we did have 3 sacks.
But I'm saying it was a lot. It felt like a performance where we had like 10 sacks. I mean,
but when we get a sack, they're still keeping the ball. I kind of like for Eli Manning to not be sacked and to force him into throwing one of those dumb throws.
That's what we did.
That he really does. I mean, because the Giants showed the other night what Darryl Worrell made famous by saying, there's only 3 things that can happen when you pass the ball, and 2 of them ain't good.
Yep.
And the Giants did that. I mean, I'm okay with my defense giving up 450 yards if we get the takeaways like we got.
Sacks are good because then that sets up a 2nd and 20,
right?
3rd and 28,
and which it forces that. It forces that
then they got to pass.
Right. It forces that pass where they But here's one thing that I was really frustrated with during the game is our wide receivers. If it's 3rd and 5, they run a 4-yard route. That drives me nuts.
They did that all night, too.
That drives me nuts.
They did that all night, man. 3rd and 5.
New York.
3-yard curl.
Let's just say that was probably the best receiving core we're going to see all year.
Yeah.
I mean,
them dudes was stout.
They're bad.
They're bad men.
Akeem Nicks is a beast.
Victor Cruz is kind of ridiculous nowadays.
Okay.
He gets better every year.
Really and truthfully, after Akeem Nicks' rookie year and Des Bryant's rookie year, who would you have taken? I would have taken Akeem Nicks. Exactly. So
just based on performance alone, not even considering the Mama Gate.
Right.
Not even considering Mama Gate. Just, dude, Akeem Nicks is a bad man.
Yeah, and so I mean, really, we had some guys that hadn't played in a while. You know, Brandon Carr hadn't played. Barry Church hadn't played. So those guys got tested. Bo Claiborne was hurt all preseason, so he didn't really get tested.
Right.
So for them to play the way they did, but man, who stood out on defense to you? That I mean, we were just like dropping our jaw every time we saw him. And that was number 99, George Selvey.
Yeah, Selvey came up big, man.
Dude, that guy was in the backfield all night. For a minute there, I thought he was one of the Giants' running backs.
Yeah.
Because he was just camping out back there in the backfield, just causing all kinds of havoc.
Thought they signed Brandon Jacobs mid-game or something.
Right.
You know what really, really gets me down in a win? It's kind of scary. The fact that we had 6 takeaways and we only won 36-31. We are not going to get 6. We're not going to get 3 takeaways a game. You know, I mean,
I heard a couple of guys say, after the first quarter, we were winning the takeaway battle 3-1, and the score was 6-3. And they were like, oh man, isn't that pretty disheartening, for the offense? Well, to me, it's more disheartening for the defense because they're really saying, hey man, look, we're stepping up. We're really busting our butts out here for you guys.
Time?
But, there was one play, probably to me, the play of the game was actually the Tony Romo interception when DeMarco Murray ran from all the way across the field.
Yep.
And chased down, who was it that intercepted the ball?
No.
It wasn't Aaron Ross, was it?
No,
it wasn't Aaron.
Peckerhead McGee, I believe his name was.
Anyway, he chased him down and tackled him at the 1. That's a hustle play.
Oh,
that's a play that doesn't show up.
He didn't get paid to do that.
Yeah, I mean, he very easily could have just let it go.
I think it was Ryan Mundy.
Yeah.
That's a 91-yard return.
Right. He very well could have let that go.
91 yards to do the defense.
He might have ran more than 91 because
he did. Yeah.
Because he came from clear across the field. So add 50 to that. But
hey, and when that happened, I said Giants are going to have to kick a field goal.
Right.
They cannot power that ball out.
Right. No, and they couldn't because Selvey came up with the big sack.
Their one play was the quick slant. Good luck on the 1-yard line pulling off the quick slant.
Right.
So that was a
huge play because it went from being 3-0 to 3-3 when it very easily could have been 3-7. So
I'm glad you brought that up, man, because that play is a give a shit play. That's what that is. That's one of them college football plays. A lot of pros would be like, damn, man, they scored.
Right.
They start heading back to the bench, catch their breath for the next series.
And man, I'm not gonna lie. There were 3 players that really impressed me, and one of them I'm extremely hard on always. And I guess it's because I expect so much more out of him. Because, I mean, I saw what he did every year in September in the Red River Shootout, and that's DeMarco Murray.
Yeah,
I'm very critical of him because I expect so much more out of him because it just doesn't really seem like he's done much since he tore up the Rams that night for 253 yards.
He's got a lot of ability. There's no denying.
But man, he was all over the place. Sunday night.
86 yards rushing.
Those were some hard 86 yards, and he had like 70-something or 30-something yards receiving.
39 yards receiving. Yeah, man, he was He's a big old cog in the offense.
What about Dwayne Harris? All over the place on special teams. Like he was trying to get $1 million, you know.
My jaw was dropped.
Yeah, like he was trying to get $100 million contract after the game.
He's
and then George Selby knowing, hey man, you know, I was about 6 weeks away from being, you know, working at Lowe's loading refrigerators and stoves, and so for him to come up,
and he would have been really good at that.
Yeah, he would have been. So I mean, those three guys really stepped up, and that's what you have to have.
Garrett always says that
you have to have those guys step up because let's face it, Romo did not play that well. I didn't think.
We don't have enough time to talk about Romo. Actually, we're about to do a preview of the next game. Let's talk about Romo in the preview. We will be right back with a Cowboys and Chiefs preview. We are back, and Chris, we're about to talk about the daunting task of going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't know about you, but I would like to start with a glaring problem. And it really has nothing to do with the Chiefs, to be honest. It doesn't matter who we're playing, this is a problem. For some reason, since Tony Romo has entered the league, either he or the people in charge of him have said, hey, Tony. Or Tony saying, hey, it'd be a good idea if all the receivers ran option routes. And somewhere along the way, it has become Tony Romo throws the curl while the receiver... I don't have a cat.
I'm sorry.
I don't have a cat.
I'm sorry. I don't know what got into me.
Anyway, you know the problems there. The option routes.
Right.
We've talked about it before. Romo does more screaming. He has screamed at every receiver he's ever had on multiple occasions, and they've always been on an option route. And at some point, you've got to say, is every receiver stupid?
No, because there's always that same common denominator.
Is it just Romo? And I think that's one of the reasons that while people have the arguments are so intense, Romo sucks, and no, Romo's a really good quarterback. I think he's both. I think he makes the throws. He's mobile. He is smart. But good God, man, you have no communication skills with your receivers.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because, being a former All-American, I never was an All-American quarterback.
Oh, okay.
But I played a lot of basketball.
Right.
And I played point guard.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would make a bad pass, what was a bad pass either on my part or on the guy going after the ball, trying to catch it, part, me as the point guard, the leader on the team, I always took responsibility for that.
Even if the
play was
he was supposed to cut
right
to the rim,
right,
you would still say
that's on me, because I feel though as the leader, it's my job to get the other guys on the same page as me.
Yeah,
not them trying to second guess what I'm doing. And so it's really frustrating to me when I see Tony Romo throw his hands up in the air at a wide receiver for running the wrong route. How about this, Tony? How about you just show a little leadership and say, hey, that's on me, and go take him off to the sidelines and say, look, dude,
don't you ever curl if he is touching your titty.
Right.
Keep going.
Right, but don't sit there and put that receiver out there on Front Street.
He should hold his finger out and do the little beckon thing on the way to the bench.
Right.
Hey, I got to tell you something.
Now I know there's some guys, that are like, there's a lot of guys out there that are like, oh no, I want to see that out of my quarterback.
He needs to be fiery. He needs to be Phillip Rivers.
Because he's showing those receivers who the leader on the team is. Well, guess what? This isn't 1962 anymore. People don't respond to you yelling and screaming at them like they did in 1962. Back then that might have worked, but now it doesn't. People just kind of shut down and they don't really want that confrontation. They don't want you yelling, screaming at them, whatever, But I guess the whole point I'm trying to make is I've yet to see Tony Romo be a leader. Because to me, being a leader isn't just throwing your hands up when somebody runs the wrong route because you made a bad pass.
He's given me no indication that he has even mid-grade leadership skills.
I get it that the numbers are there, but the stats don't tell everything. They don't.
Right.
And you can try all you want, but there's not a stat for leadership.
I guess what I'm saying, I'm not even trying to get into all that. I'm just saying, when are we going to figure out that Tony Romo cannot do the option? And the reason why they do those option routes is because probably more than half of their touchdowns are on them. But you can score touchdowns on other routes, on non-option routes. But how many interceptions are results of those?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't an option route, wouldn't that be a good time to throw a little pump fake in there?
It depends on the route, yeah.
Do you ever see Tony Romo pump fake?
If it's like a slant and go, maybe. But, I mean, again, I don't want to go down this road. I'm just saying I'm tired of seeing it.
Well, I mean,
I'm tired of seeing it, man. I don't want him to do that anymore. You can do it. Look, you can do it with Jason Witten. That's about it. Because apparently they're super best friends,
Right.
They went to Boy Scouts together. Maybe that'll work. But, man, I'm sick of it. But, had to get that off my chest. Kansas City Chiefs, Jamal Charles, very dangerous, very fast.
One of the most explosive running backs in the league.
One of the most explosive players in the league. He's ridiculous. And Andy Reid is using him the way he used LaShawn McCoy.
And what's his name? Westbrook.
And Westbrook, yes. Andy Reid knows how to use a talented, speedy back. And he showed that he could do it.
Hey, and what about Dwayne Bowe? I mean, that dude's...
Dwayne Bowe ain't no chump.
No, I mean, he's a top 15 receiver easily.
He ain't no chump. I think the Chiefs do have a good offense, if I had to guess.
Right.
But I also think that perhaps the Cowboys have a defense that can stop them.
Now, we're getting Brian Waters this week, right?
Yes.
What did you think about that that move Bernardo made right there at the end of the game where he kind of moonwalked his way?
Oh my Lord.
Where he kind of moonwalked his way out of the starting lineup and onto the bench.
I think they should send him to the moon.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a sad performance, and thank God we signed Waters before it was too late.
So what's your prediction for this week?
Let me I made a program that predicts games.
Right.
Because my vision didn't come true. But I have this program that can accurately predict the outcome of any NFL game. Carry the two.
Does Bill Gates know about this program?
No.
He soon will.
Bill Gates isn't very smart. He's not very smart, so he probably wouldn't understand it anyway.
Okay.
So let me speed up the typing.
What about the stat master, the baseball guy, the sabermetrics guy?
I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
Oh, everybody knows who I'm talking about. I don't even
Brian
know.
Kenny? I mean, he's not smart, but...
We'll just call him Brian Kenny.
We'll act like it's Brian Kenny. No, he's not aware of this program either. Okay, it says right here, username and password. Loverboy 69. Okay. Wow.
It's a very eccentric name
Wow.
there.
The Cowboys are going to hold the Chiefs to a measly 14 points.
Okay.
And somehow, and I don't know how, but I'm trusting the program. That's what this is designed for. The Cowboys managed to score 17 points. So I'm guessing it's going to be a sloppy game. 17-14. Now, use your intuition. This is man versus computer. We want to see who's more accurate. The state
So
of the
common
art,
sense versus the computer?
the state of the art quantum physics, quantum technology, Core Duo, Quattro, Schick, Razor computer,
Right.
or the intuition of a former All-American.
Well, I've thought long and hard about this. I put some numbers on paper.
You thought 12 inches.
With
you thought long, and you thought hard.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I've come up with the conclusion that I really think that our beloved Dallas Cowboys, Bill James is the sabermetric guy that I was thinking
Bill
of.
James. Okay.
To get that out of my brain before I just, totally derailed and...
Before you queef everywhere.
Right. But, I think that after coming off a high, beating the New York Giants,
Yeah.
I just see us getting really
Complacency will set in.
Yeah, and so, man, I really look for the score to be 31-3, Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, going against the grain a little bit, against the computer.
31-3, Kansas City Chiefs.
In a way, you just slapped the program in the face.
And I apologize for that. But I just, I'm just going on a hunch here.
You pretty much, what you basically just did is you laid the program on its back, and you laid a Cleveland steamer on its chest.
Listen, out of all the Americans in America
You're the last
who have
one
American blood, I am going to be the last American
to lay a Cleveland
to
steamer
ever lay a Cleveland steamer
on even a computer's chest.
on even a computer's
Okay.
chest.
Yeah, so
Listen, because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to have to look up what a Cleveland steamer is.
I was going to say, you save all your steamers for porcelain.
Right.
No, don't look up what a Cleveland steamer is.
So you're saying I shouldn't look?
No.
Because I'm going to be real honest with you. I looked up Upper Decker one time, and I got like 14 pages of baseball cards.
Good.
And then I found
You don't ever want
some stuff that I didn't need to find.
You know what I've found about Google? Google Images? No matter what you typed in, beach ball, hot rod, dinosaurs, if you scroll down those pictures long enough, you will see genitalia.
Right, yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's going to happen. Anyway, that's the preview. That's the predicted scores. And we'll be right back for a quick Ranger segment. Real quick. We'll be right back. Well, Chris, not all is well for the Little Fighting Rangers. I mean, I'm not saying bury us, we're done, but we're anywhere from 1 to 2 games back from night to night.
Right.
I mean, you know how Oakland is at the end of the year. They did this to us last year.
They're very good about catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. They got a young team. They get after it when it's time to get after it.
And we've played horrible this last week and a half.
You know what rips my baseball heart out?
What's that?
Losing a game 1-0.
Yeah, that's
that sucks on so many different levels.
It does.
Because one, you had a pitcher pitch his heart out.
Right.
In this case, it was Yu Darvish.
Right.
So you wasted a masterful performance from your pitcher. And two, your team couldn't hit. Those are two bad things. Yeah, you got to credit the other pitcher, but that doesn't soften the blow, man. I don't care if it's Verlander on the mound. I'm still pissed off if I lose 1-0.
Let me just say this, because I am the eternal optimist.
Okay.
Glass is always half full of me. The last time our little Rangers played this bad, we won with 3 walk-offs in a row. If you remember that.
The Angels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's look for them to turn it around. But, I don't like this offense. We've got 2 big holes in this offense, I think. We've gotten just absolutely zero production from left field and first base. I mean, Mitch Moreland is like that box of chocolates that Forrest Gump's always talking about.
You might get milk chocolate. You might get toothpaste.
Right.
Man.
And, thank God Elvis has turned it up a notch here lately because he has been dreadful. He was dreadful at the beginning of the season.
Dude, the whole first 60% of the season, Elvis was slow.
He was dreadful. But he's
Elvis.
carried a really hot bat since the All-Star break. Beltre's been in a big slump. He's like...
And he's been great all year. Great all year. So we're going to need him to turn it around soon.
But Leonis, he's one of those. He's either 2 for 4 or he's 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
He's been a very pleasant surprise this year.
Right, but he has been, he has really stepped it up. But I really think we're fixing to. I think we know we have to hit that home stretch, and I think we know that we have to really just, these guys turn it on when they have to. For one reason or another, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's those magical talks that Ron Washington gives them. Maybe it's just the fact that they realize, dudes, we've kind of been sucking lately. We need to just step it up. Now, that being said, that drives me crazy because in my mind, the 137th game of the year is just as important as the first game or the 162nd.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all important, and they should all be important. So it just drives me nuts that we play really lackluster for 11 games in a row, and then we step it up and reel off 14 out of 17, but I really look for these last 11, 12 games of the season to just be really, I think it's going to be really dynamite packed, if you will say,
Here's another thing. At the end of last season, whether you believed it or not, a lot of people were saying, hey, they're tired. We've been postseason. You don't have that excuse this year.
No, you don't.
We were one and done.
Right.
Like literally one.
Right.
One game.
Right.
And not a series.
We lost to the Baltimore Rangers.
We lost to they have our castaways. And they do very well with our castaways.
They do very well with them.
But you can't do that. We're just as tired as anyone else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everyone's tired. It's baseball. It's MLB. But you can't use that, the Rangers have played 40 more games than everyone else. No, that's not the case anymore.
Right.
Plus, we got fresh blood. We got Rios.
Right.
We got Profar. We got Leonis. And, while I'm at it, we can't let Profar get off the hook.
No.
That dude be suck. I'm sorry, that dude be suck, man.
I'm going to say this.
I'm really disappointed in what Profar's been doing.
He's still just 20 years old.
That's all you can say.
That's all you can say.
That's all you can say.
That's all you can say about that guy.
I think there's 2 reasons I'm disappointed. Well, 3. One, I would like for all of our players to bat 300. Obviously.
Listen, all that needs to be said about Profar. Did you see the picture of him at Six Flags?
No.
Where he had on the skinny jeans and the blue shirt with the white sunglasses and the white flip-flops?
That goes back to the...
Holding the big Tweety bird thing that he won from knocking over the milk jugs.
That goes back to the he's 20.
Yeah. I mean, all you gotta do is look at that picture and go, alright, Profar, I got it, man.
Participate in the milk jug throwing game. I say, man, get your ass out of here.
He's not even old enough. Is he old enough to throw anything at milk jugs?
Yeah. You must weigh this much to ride this ride. But let me finish my 1, 2, 3. 2. We heard a lot about Profar. He was very hyped, and he has not lived up to the hype. That's always a letdown, no matter what sport or aspect of life you're talking about. 3, and this is ridiculous. I admit it. I admit this is ridiculous. Him and Mike Trout had ties with each other. They were both, top prospects. They both had played around the same time. They were in this. When you talked about Mike Trout, Ranger fans would talk about Profar.
Right.
And not only is Mike Trout Profar disappointing, but Mike Trout's the best baseball player on planet Earth. And it just kind of sticks in my craw a little bit.
This might be really wheels off, but I really want to go down to GNC and buy a bunch of Mega Men vitamins.
Yeah.
And just start passing them out to the Ranger players.
I think they have them, man.
I don't think they take their vitamins.
They might not.
Guys, they get hurt all the damn time.
Guys,
y'all know
the carrot is.
It seems like when I don't take my vitamins, I get banged up.
Maybe they all
and when I do take my vitamins, things go really well for me. And so I want the Rangers to take some damn vitamins.
Maybe you should hand out Snickers. Because I saw in a commercial that you aren't yourself when you're hungry.
I just wish they'd do something.
Maybe you could be like your mom and put some vitamins in a Snickers. Like shove it in with your thumb and say, here's a Snickers.
Well, somehow, some way, I'm fixing to infiltrate a bunch of Snickers and Mega Man vitamins into the stadium.
What if the only way to get the Rangers to take their vitamins was to give them all suppositories? Would you be willing to help the team out? And that, like, if you just had a white glove on, and they were lined up outside of a trainer's office, they said, Chris, you're the only one who can deliver these vitamins to these essential amino acids and vitamins to their system. And they had a big old pot of Vaseline and some disposable gloves. Would you be willing to deliver the hit?
I would look up at the heavens and say, thank God Benji Molina's fat ass doesn't play for us anymore.
That might be the easiest vitamin to deliver.
That might be the grossest one too.
Well, you couldn't give Murphy vitamins because that's a sin.
Yeah,
and he'd throw a Bible at you.
He'd probably mule kick you with that horse butt he has.
And while he walked out, you'd say, but Murph, you probably need him the most.
Right. Like if you could, you would try to give Murphy 2 vitamins. But, I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems like we're always so banged up. And I never use that as an excuse because I know everybody else around the league is banged up too. And so we really got to have guys like Baker step up. We've got to have...
right now.
And we are relatively healthy. But, I guess our pitching staff has been the most banged up out of anything.
And they're hitting those walls. They've got stats on pitch counts and stuff, man. They're starting to hit those.
Right.
Sheppers, he shouldn't have. We used the hell out of him early in the season, man.
But you know what, man? I don't want to hear about a reliever who pitches 1 inning a damn game. Talk about he's tired.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying those.
But I get it. They for some reason they come up with that.
What's his name?
Bill James.
Bill James told me Sheppers is used up.
Right.
But no, I'm with you, man. You got an arm attached to you. Let's see it.
I mean, Elvis still finds a way to make that throw from deep short to first base, and that's way further than...
And he does that a lot.
Yeah, and that's way further than that 60 feet, 6 inches. And, Sheppard sometimes only throws 7 pitches an inning because he's really effective.
Yeah.
So don't tell me those 7 pitches just, geez, were you holding down the R2 button the whole time you were throwing? I mean, just really sucking the juice out of you?
And thank God, Martin Perez is being a hoss right now.
He's been big.
I'm with you, man. We got some goods. We got. There's reason to be optimistic,
Right,
about even though we are 1 or 2 games back lately.
because as banged up as we are, look at Boston. They're banged up too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're banged up. Baltimore, they've got their nicks and bruises, and we have the best bullpen in the league, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're so deep. The only other team that's as deep as we are is the St. Louis Cardinals.
And look at the worst bullpen in the league, the Angels.
Right.
16 games back.
Yeah. So
bullpen matters, and we got it.
But
spades.
That being said, guys, look for this last 2 weeks of the season to be really exciting as far as the Rangers go.
It's going to be fun. All right. I'm sorry. It's Rangers talk, man. It's fun. We went a little too long, but we're not going to apologize for it.
No.
Even though it just did, I'm going to act like it never happened.
No.
I'm not sorry.
And if you don't like all of Rangers talk, just fast forward to the vitamin part.
Yeah. Just replay the enema thing over and over. All right. We'll be right back. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us on the Sober Boys podcast. We had fun talking about the Cowboys being 1-0 and possibly being 1-1 or 2-0. It depends. Sober Boys. Seth Jones, future Hall of Fame sports writer, and former All-American Chris Ochoa. I had fun.
I had a blast. Thank you guys for listening.
Everyone had fun, and we will see you next time.